They're rude.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Statement of values. As we gather, we humbly seek blessings upon this meeting. May we act with strength, courage, and will to perform our obligations and duties to our people with justice to all. Let us seek wisdom so that we may act in the best interests of our people, our nation, neighbors, and our country. All this we ask so we may serve our community with fairness and respect, putting their needs before all.
Roll call, please.
Here. Here. Oh, I'm sorry. Chairperson Casey?
Here.
Commissioner Kelly?
Here.
Okay, Commissioner Reinhardt asked to be excused.
Motion to excuse Commissioner Reinhardt. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And Commissioner Halloran is here. All right. Declaration of procedures. Public hearings are conducted by the chair in accordance with the following procedures. The chair of the commission directs all activity during the hearings. All comments shall be addressed to the commission. Any item on this agenda may be continued to a subsequent hearing. Applicants will be allotted up to 10 minutes to present and justify proposals, following staff presentation of the item. Other speakers will be given up to 4 minutes. The applicant is then allotted up to 5 minutes for rebuttal of comments. No additional comments will be accepted upon the close of the public hearing, although the commission reserves the right to direct questions to any speaker on any matter. Special procedures and time limits may be applied to any items as prescribed by the chair. An appeal of commission actions must be filed in writing within 7 calendar days. Okay. Any continuances or exceptions? Consent calendar.
On our consent calendar, we have 3 items. One is the Planning Commission minutes for October 25th. The second is a property zoned at 4300 Great America Parkway, and it's with a general designation of regional commercial. Asking for a use permit to allow on-sale consumption of beer and wine. And item 3 is at 1335 Coleman Avenue, which is a 3-acre parcel located at the southwest corner of Coleman and Brokaw Road. It's asking for a use permit to allow the conversion of a existing 730 square foot space in the existing shopping center to a massage establishment with foot and body massage services.
Thank you. Okay.
I would like to pull item 5B.
Okay.
And I'd like to pull item 5A.
Okay.
And I also have a comment about item 5A, if I may.
5A, okay.
It looks like Commissioner Kelly and Commissioner Jane were absent on October 25th. And Commissioner Reinhardt is absent today, so only 3 commissioners today are able to vote on the motion.
Yeah.
So we'd have to move this item to the next meeting.
So we're not even gonna talk about it.
Right.
Okay.
Can we talk about it though?
You
As
can
a
discuss
discussion?
it, but no action can
No
be taken.
action. We can
Yes.
have a discussion
Okay.
on it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, so we're pulling items A and B. Any motion to approve item C on the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, or
Aye.
any all in favor? Okay, thank you. All right. So item A, Commissioner Chahal has a question.
Okay, yeah. So if you remember item 9B of the minutes, we had, I requested that I need to have a supporting documents for the traffic data for Summerhill project. And as the two reports which were submitted on August 4, 2017 and November 17, 2016, used the same data, but there was a difference of numbers in that. So I have not received any clarification on those, and I would like that request to be part of the minutes, please.
So just to respond to that, I did ask Steve Lee, who's the project manager, to follow up with you on that, and it looks like we looked back on it today and we had your email address incorrect. So Andrew should be forwarding you those documents. If he hasn't already, should be tomorrow.
Okay, that's fine.
But we will
We
include
can
it as
make
part
a
of the
part
minutes.
of request on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on item, this item minutes, 5A?
No, I'd move that we continue it to the next meeting when we have a majority of the present
Okay,
commissioners.
second?
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's move on to item 5B. Commissioner Jane?
Yeah, so what we're doing here is we're approving on-site sale and consumption of beer and wine. And as you recall, historically, adding beer and wine permit to a existing restaurant qualifies as what's called intensification of use, which means that there's additional traffic. And in the past, we have requested that we add bike parking if there isn't sufficient bike parking. And I used to work across the street from this place, and as I recall, there's no bike parking or very little. So I would like to potentially, well, first I'd like to know, does anyone know how much bike parking is already there? And then I have a addition to the conditions.
So for
That's a tough street.
Okay.
yeah,
would the
so
staff
I
like-
touched base with the applicant before tonight's meeting to confirm there's no existing bike parking, formal bike parking on the site.
So I am fine with, allowing on-site sale of beer and wine, but there should be bike parking. It costs like $250 to add a bike loop to a facility, and I'm sure we can find a place to put that, so I'd like to make that one of the conditions, that we add at least 2 bike parking spots to the project.
Okay, thank you. I have a question too. Didn't somebody get like an entitlement to build a hotel somewhere around this area? I remember like a project came up a while ago.
There's one on Mission Boulevard at the other end,
Oh, the other
all the way
end.
at the end at Montague
Oh,
and,
right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But
And
that
that's
hasn't
under
happened.
construction now.
Oh,
No,
okay.
they've leveled the place and they're building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. All right. Thank you. So does anyone else have a comment? No. Okay. Does anyone have a motion?
Motion to approve with
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Would the
condition for
applicant like to speak on this matter?
Yes, please, thank you. Hi, my name is Robert Crum. I'm the applicant for Get Fried on that location at 4300 Great American Parkway. You're right, there is no bike parking there now. However, if you look at the map of the location, the sidewalk is only 5 feet wide around the whole building, or on the one side of the building. And so if you put a bike rack there, city ordinance, your code doesn't allow that in that small of a space, because now there's no walk space. And the rest of the building is, the rest of the property is just parking lot. So I was with the landlord yesterday, and we did a walk around the whole building looking for a place to put a bike rack, and there's just no place that you can put a bike rack without rezoning that whole area, because it's either shrubbery, which is on a downslope, or it's fence that is right next to, which is only 3 feet behind the parking. So the walkway, again, is only 5 feet wide the whole way, and the rest is parking.
but actually, when I read the documents, it sounds like there's plenty of parking for cars on this site. There's
Okay.
actually more than what's required. So couldn't you just take a car parking spot and just add bike loops to it with maybe a curb there?
I think that you might be able to do something like that, but if you've ever been in that parking lot during the daytime, it's a madhouse trying to get in and out. And so I would be afraid of any bicyclist in that parking lot, parking their bike, and then having all those cars that are coming in and out. It's such a difficult parking lot to get in and out as it is. And then adding a bike loop there somewhere, and then
But, but people are walking to their cars anyway.
people are
And so
walking.
if you're walking your bike, it's the same as walking as a pedestrian.
No,
So,
I understand
do we
that.
have the site plan that we can see on the screen?
It's on the back of the project, on the back
So
of the
it's included
planning
It's in our
commission.
packet.
It's included in your packet, but if anyone needs a copy, I have extras.
Okay. I don't have it downloaded. I only printed the staff report. There's nobody to do the computer?
Yeah, let me.
So actually, if you look at this, you can see that the sidewalk sort of meanders along Great America. So there are areas where there is shrubbery there.
That sidewalk, sir, is on a downslope. The whole thing is on a downslope. None of that is flat, and that is the back part of the building. None of that is the front. There's no doors to any of the facilities there. That's the complete backside on the Mission College and on the Great America side.
Okay.
That's all the back, and that's all shrubbery. There's no entrances to any of the buildings from that side, from either one of those entrances or either one of those roadsides. The only entrances to any of the buildings are on the parking lot side.
Except there used to be a Togo's there, so there was an entrance from
There
Great
is a Togo's,
America
it's
on
still
the
there.
Togo's.
They're getting ready to leave, but it's still there.
But you could enter from the street side.
But from that Togo's, it's just one walkway that goes into an outdoor patio.
Right. I
And that's
understand.
the only thing that's there, and that walkway is only 5 feet wide.
Is there any way to pull up the map on the screen there?
I would love to put one in.
Hmm?
We would love to put one in. I just, trying to find a spot for that is like trying to pull teeth.
Because my understanding of reading the document was that there's plenty of car parking. So that it seems like we could take one of the car spots and turn that into a bike spot.
Would you take one of the spaces on the very end?
Yeah.
Or would you take something
One
in
of
the
the
middle?
ones on the space, on the end. I have one in mind here.
Will that still meet the parking requirement for the commercial?
Yes, so per the staff report, they are overparked by about 15 spaces.
So what I would propose is that you either take the one on the lower right corner, that last one over there.
By the dumpsters?
On the other side of the dumpsters.
Are you talking
right?
about, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah. Or you take the one on the very far left, the very last one on the left side.
Against the fence.
Whatever that last one is over on the very left, which would be along
to
the
Great
Great
America
America,
Parkway?
the Great
Oh.
America, yeah.
Closest to Great America Parkway, okay,
Yeah.
right there. The one that's inundated, okay. That one or that one? I mean, I don't.
It's overparked. If you add one of those little curb things in there, one of those bump things, no car's going to go in there.
So you're asking me to ask a landlord to put one of those in?
I'm going to make it one of the conditions, yeah.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Yes.
That there's 10 other tenants in there,
Yeah.
And why hasn't anybody else ever been asked to put one in?
Because this is something that we started about 2 years ago, and I don't think there have been any new tenants for 2 years.
I think there's a new tenant there that just opened up and
Well,
2 months ago.
not one that asks for a beer and wine permit.
Okay, didn't know why
Yeah.
I was being the one, you know.
Because you're asking for a beer and wine
Right.
permit.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there's the 2 other ones there, so this was just 2 years ago, so the other ones that were there already had their beer and wine license prior to
Or-
this being, okay.
That's
Didn't
correct.
know that.
Yeah.
Okay. No problem. I will have the landlord put one in.
It's not expensive.
No, it's not expensive. I just, again, walking around with him yesterday,
Yeah.
he was, you know, pretty adamant about there's no place to put it. And I didn't know that you could take a parking space to do
Absolutely,
that. I
yep.
was not aware of that. So I'm sure he was not aware of that, and I will make him aware of that. And so we will do that.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your
Okay,
time.
any other questions or comments? Okay, motion to close public hearing?
Second.
Somebody wants to make a motion?
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, so does anyone have any other comment on this item? Okay, do we have a motion?
I would like to make a motion that we approve the beer and wine license after adding the condition that we add a rack for at least 2 bicycles on the site, given that there's excess car parking, and that it is possible to take one of the car parking spots.
Second that.
Okay, any discussions?
And that's allowing the applicant to choose a spot in case they.
Correct, yeah.
Okay,
Pick up any other spot.
yep. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. All right, next item.
That's the end of the consent items, and there are no items set for the hearing.
Yep. Okay, anyone would like to make a presentation? Anyone in the public? Okay. Okay, reports on commission, board liaison, and committee. Announcements and other items.
So I have, I guess, other items, you might say.
Okay,
First off, I don't know if everyone has seen this article from the Silicon Valley Business Journal. It says, "Can Silicon Valley home prices keep outpacing income growth?" And they say yes. And basically, the whole article is about supply and demand. And there's a quote in here. He added, "The way to solve the affordability issue is more about building more supply." And then later, the article says, "Absent any change in the housing supply, none of these experts imagines a factor that could slow the price increase other than a dramatic recession in the tech industry or perhaps a screw up in tax reform." So it's all about supply. So I just wanted to mention, it's a good article. It sort of explains the situation we're in and why we don't have affordable housing.
What date is that article?
That was, I think, today.
Today?
Yeah, it's, today's in the Business Journal, and everyone should have a free copy
that's
of
the
the
one where we
Business
have
Journal.
got the subscription.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
So you can access it. In fact, this article says, "For the exclusive use of Santa Clara at cityofsantaclara.com." So I got it using my
Thank you.
license.
That's surprising.
The other thing that I wanted to ask about was, I know we're in the middle of our climate action plan, and on September 13th, we had made some motions, so I wanted to ask staff about sort of the status of this. We had requests that we remove on-street parking on El Camino Real, so that would be part of the El Camino Real specific plan. So I don't know how these things are getting conveyed to the consultants that we've hired to do these plans. The second one was we recommended that single-family homes be pre-wired for level 2 electric vehicle chargers, so that should be going into the cap. So I just want to make sure these things are being followed through on, and being conveyed to the consultants. And then there was sort of a discussion about how we would like to have an architect to help us review some of the items that come before architectural review. So,
You may have one.
So when
We
we
may
met
have
with
one.
the council yesterday, the first item, the El Camino, I guess, didn't, didn't, didn't we, are we supposed to participate in like a,
Yeah, my understanding is their neighborhood outreach, and I don't know if they're
the
state set
outreach
for that.
session, yeah.
My experience is often a lot of these plans are pretty far along before they do the neighborhood outreach. And then kind of my experience has been it's too late at that point. I'm not very happy with that process.
I agree to that. Like, once we discussed about it, should be conveyed in one form or the other.
Right, but didn't Andrew promise to include us in the study sessions?
I don't really know the process of getting involved with the consultants as they write these specific area plans.
I'm just saying what I remember hearing, but of course, I mean, I think it's perfectly fine to reiterate our request. Yeah,
And then the final item I had was
so
that
that's the first and second item, right? And then the third item was what?
I was just saying that, well, there's the EV chargers, there's the
The
El
EV
Camino
charger is the
Real,
second item. The third
right.
item was.
And then the architect.
Oh, yes, architect, we didn't talk about at yesterday's council meeting, so has anyone been able to speak with anybody on this matter? Because I remember Commissioner Jane brought it up a while ago.
So in regards to the architect, we have been looking at having an architect initially first help staff. So we've gotten an architect on board as in a consultant basis, and he's looking at 2 projects currently that would eventually come before the commission in the form of PD zonings. So we're looking at it initially as a step to assist staff with our review, with more detailed analysis of the architecture and the urban design of projects. And then I think as a next step, we could look at having them directly assist the commission. Is that what you're referencing?
The Commissioner Jane is interested in having an architect at the architectural review meeting.
Yeah, so I think that's our next step. So we're having them kind of help us initially, and then we can consider having them attend the committee meeting. Like, for example, currently we have assisting historic architects that assist us with our HLC reviews and make recommendations to that commission. So in a similar fashion.
Is that Craig who comes to the HLC?
Yeah, I think that we have 3, and Craig
Okay.
most often.
Okay, so do we have that on our minutes, your request to have an
It's on the
architect?
September 13th minutes.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
remember.
It says that, let me,
Okay,
the
so,
commission and staff discussed the need to have a volunteer professional architect available for reference questions and property aesthetic input. Glory Shiara suggested that this recommendation be made at the Architectural Review Committee and stated that it be added to the next ARC meeting agenda, which I don't think it ever happened.
Okay, we can add it to the
Yeah.
November 29th if that was never formally discussed amongst the committee.
Okay. And then the fourth item was, I just wanted to know, there was some sort of a commitment that we would get official City of Santa Clara email addresses for all official communication. Does
Oh,
anyone
yeah.
know
What
about
happened to
the
that?
status of that?
Because Xander said that it's probably better to do that in
It is
terms
better,
of
yeah.
compliance and protecting the city.
Transparency
And
yeah, good government.
I believe that was an item at one of the September meetings, September 27th.
I'm not familiar with the process of how IT gives out those emails. I'm not sure if staff is. I do know that we have a council policy that they use their city email addresses, and that the governance committee is really looking into extending that to commissions and committees. I just don't know where they are in the process right now.
Okay, thank you.
I had the impression that this was going to happen imminently, but we're going to go through the governance process and then decide.
I believe so, but like I said, I'm not sure where, since the request was made, what's happened since. So I'm not positive.
Okay. So what would be the best way to follow up on these issues? I mean, thanks to Commissioner Jane, who brought it up again, where, it's coming up again. But, I mean, we have different members of the staff attending these meetings, so what would be the best way? Are we going to count on Commissioner Jane to keep bringing them up until it happens, or?
I think we can count on them.
Yes?
So I can definitely follow up on those two items. In regards to the El Camino Real specific plan, we do have a dedicated project manager working on that project, Anna McGill. So I'll reiterate your comment to her to make sure she's aware. We have just kicked off that process, so there hasn't been any community engagement, internal or otherwise. So
There is now signed consultant. Is that my
yeah, I
understanding?
believe the contract is signed, but we're just gearing up to kick off. And then the electric vehicle charging station, we'd also want to look at incorporating that as part of our zoning code update to include that as a codified requirement.
So are these items going to be included in our minutes for this meeting then?
Yeah,
Okay,
we will
great.
include them
Okay,
in this
so
month's meeting.
Commissioner Jane, we count on you to keep us honest. Thank you. All right. Anything on the travels, training, AC? Okay. Well, so architectural committee, we did ask, we had a meeting with the council yesterday, and we recommended updating the yes, guideline, design guideline. So just as a housekeeping, although, we're not expecting drastic changes, there are minor housekeeping updates that will make our life easier on the architectural committee. So let's see, how are we going to follow up on that?
We can agendize that and have you make specific, well, Andrew was at the dinner, correct?
He was.
Okay, so I can follow up with him and see what his thoughts are. I don't know our capacity to undertake a redo of the guidelines at this time.
Okay. I don't know. So we bring up these issues, and I feel like things are falling through cracks. So, I mean, what would, should we look for this on the agenda? I mean, on the minutes then too?
Yeah, we can follow up with all of these
Okay.
items on at our next meeting
Okay.
as we
Thank you.
review the minutes from tonight's meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Anything else on item 8? All right. Let's do. Can we have an update on the community development? Item 9.
So recent city council approvals, we did have our historic preservation ordinance approved at city council yesterday evening. So with one minor, well, I don't know if it's minor, but one modification that the referral would be pushed out to 200 feet rather than just within 100 feet, meaning projects subject to the architectural committee review would be referred to the HLC if located within 200 feet. So that was modified from 100 feet that you previously reviewed.
Thank you. Anything else?
The temporary prohibition of cannabis that you, the commission reviewed at our last hearing was approved. So that will take effect January 1st of next year
Okay.
for a
Thank you.
one-year period.
Thank you.
I had,
Commissioner Jane.
so today's meeting is kind of light, and it seems like maybe if we have a November 22nd meeting, that would also be light on agenda. And so I have suggested that we fill some of our agenda with some trainings. So for example, it would be nice if one of the planning staff were to be able to come and give a 20-minute talk about form-based codes. You know, instead of, 50 units per acre, you do it form-based, that it's no more than 3 stories and it's no more than this wide and so on. And it seems like a lot of cities are moving towards form-based codes, and it would be good for us to all be educated on what that means. And other things would be all of these new housing laws. Apparently for the Summerhill project, there was someone who objected to the amount of affordable housing on that project. And so now that there's all these new housing laws that have been passed by Governor Brown, it would be nice for us to be trained on what we're allowed to approve and what we're not allowed to approve.
So, that particular issue on the new laws, we do have a study session scheduled for December 6th, correct?
So I would just touch base with the city attorney's office on that. We are tentatively scheduled for December 6th.
Yes,
Correct.
Mr. Abbey is tentatively scheduled. He's still trying to determine whether he's free or not.
Okay.
But if I'm here, I'm more than happy to do a Brown Act presentation, especially for our new commissioners who may not have received that training. And so it will either be a training on the new housing laws or the Brown Act on December 6th.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a good idea, particularly with the new commissioner.
Right. When Commissioner Chahal and I became the commissioners, those trainings were done off the commission, separately, offline. But now we're going to make that part of the PC meetings?
I don't know if it's a new policy moving forward, but that's just an option if it's a light agenda to do that training during a meeting.
Do we need a retraining on? Okay, sounds great. Okay, so how does the meeting on the 22nd look? Are we likely to have one, or?
So as we discussed at our previous meeting, I don't believe Commissioner Jane was here. We were considering canceling that meeting, and we would have had items in process. We don't have any items for that
So-
evening. So we're looking to cancel it and then have a definite training on December the 6th.
Okay, so I guess what I'm hearing is that on December 6th, if we are going to, if Xander can give a training on the state laws, he will. Otherwise, you're going to give us training on the Brown Act and form-based. Wait, form-based? Can you give us an update on form-based?
We can see if we have staff who are comfortable giving a presentation on that.
If you can.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So those are the items we're going to try to add to the study session. Thank you very much.
Is November 22nd meeting still
So it looks like
there, or
right
it
now
will be,
it's
canceled?
It will be canceled, and we'll send out the formal cancellation probably tomorrow or
Okay.
Monday.
okay. Sounds great. Thank you. Okay. Anything else? Guess there's no upcoming agenda items because next meeting's going to be canceled, and we talked about the study session. And so, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So,
How does
Yes,
it work with the
Commissioner
new
Halloran.
new commissioner? Did you say we needed to do anything to? Bring 'em on board?
So the new commissioner is going to be sworn in before the December 6th meeting. And
That'll be a
I
council
hope
action
everyone
then?
has said hi to Lance. Thank you for coming today.
The swearing in is done by the city clerk's office.
city clerk's office.
Okay.
Before the meeting on the 6th is what I heard. Yeah. Okay. All right. And that was one of the reasons why we wanted to have the study session on the 6th, so that you'll be on board by then. But thank you for coming today. Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.